Hello, 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 and welcome back to not another Andrew Bortz's Career Mode Expert. It's actually online multiplayer this time. I am Matt Ruda, aka at AgentMolder5 on Twitter, aka the guy who usually does the career mode videos, but apparently this race was so epic that, it just required my sultry tones, or at least that's what I'm going to keep telling myself to help myself sleep at night. It is, in fact, a pre-qualification for a race department league, apparently. So trying to see who can get in. It's like the good old days of F1 where you had to do pre-qualifying because so many people wanted to be on the grid. Sadly, those days are gone. As we see Andrew going through his setup now. Pause and copy if you like. I didn't quite catch the weather there, but there's the roster. A couple of names stand out, like Bortz, of course. Igor Reshnik, I think that is. I'm not quite sure. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name. But yeah, so it's an online race. And if you haven't looked at the time at the video as Andrew shows you his tires, it's the whole damn thing. So I'm going to try my best to find things to yammer on about for the next hour and 25 minutes. As we can see, that's what I was looking for. It was probably raining in qualifying, which allows Bortz a whole set of fresh tires, which is nice. Or actually, maybe it wasn't raining in qualifying. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, he qualified far up enough that he can choose whatever tires he wants. And he's decided to start on the prime tires. It seems to be a toss-up online whether or not you start on the primes, go to the options when you have less fuel, or vice versa, start on the options. And then you have less fuel, so your primes are faster. It depends. It seems to have gone back and forth, at least on the 360. I do have this game for PC before all you PC elitist people bed down with this video. Problem being is I can never find anyone to race with online, so I'm inexperienced in the matters of online racing on the PC, but I'm pretty damn quick on the Xbox, if I do say so myself. So here we go, 30 seconds, 25 seconds now until we start this shindig. Looks like one person decided that Bortz was too fast for him and dropped out. Bortz qualifying P4, so pretty respectable. Like I said, I only know one name on here, and it's from videos Steve did a long time ago. Back in the 2010 days, I even believe. So I have no idea who any of these people are, really, or what their skill levels are, but we shall find out soon. As usual, if you don't know, if you've never watched a career mode video, well, first off, welcome. Hope this is entertaining. Second of all, I do not preview these videos beforehand, so I have no idea what happens. So we'll just have to find out together exactly how this race goes for Bortz and for everyone else. The engines are fired and we are heading out to the grid. It's looking cloudy. It didn't look like there was much of a chance of rain, but you never know. This is Spa. It is known to be unpredictable as anything when it comes to weather. So here we are, the pole sitter. Not going to try to pronounce that on the fly. Last time I tried to pronounce on the fly was Taki, the old F1 driver. Yeah, it didn't work out too well on our podcast. But any hoozle, there are the lights. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, Americans can count too. And we are over the engine, but we are now off. As Bortz is getting a little bit of wheel spin there, but nothing he can't handle. A little bit early on the gear change there. It's going to take a massively far outside line. But hope to clear all the first corner dramas. It's a little bump from behind, but nothing too dramatic. It actually looks like everyone got through quite cleanly, which is more than can be said for most races I've seen here at Spas. We got a guy bouncing. Ooh, that's not how you take the first part of it. Oh, shit! That didn't go well. For Dosmot, the Russian. Trying to pull his best. Who is that GP3 driver that speared Daly off? I don't know, but he was trying to do an impression of that guy. As we're only one lap into this race and we already got a safety car. So, yeah, interesting. Could tell there was going to be a bit of a problem there when he bounced off the first part of Eau Rouge. I didn't think he would quite lose control in such a dramatic fashion, but there you go. So we already see the tires getting cold very, very quickly. But Bortz doing his best to keep him warm, weaving back and forth. He whips his car back and forth. It actually has a good result, unlike that song, which only makes children cry and kittens bleed. So, I guess I'm already going to have to delve into real F1 talk since we got all of 3 corners down before the safety car came out. Something to fill the space. So, Valencia Grand Prix is coming up, with the first practice session being I honestly don't even know if it's tonight or tomorrow. I don't know when FP1 is, to be honest. Maybe it's tomorrow sometime. Anywho, at the time of recording this, it is Thursday, so Free Practice 1 will be tomorrow. Whenever. Sometime. I don't know. I'm on the east coast of the US. I can't get these time zones straight in my head automatically, so apologies if you're Spanish and I just offended you or something, but, you know, c'est la vie. I guess speaking French to a Spaniard is also not the best thing. But anyway, should be, I hesitate to say interesting, because Valencia really never is interesting now, is it? I mean, it's mostly just a procession of, yeah, Monaco, but without the class, the style, the wealth, or the excitement. Well, usually, but the Pirelli's kind of ruined Monaco this year. Anyway, we all have to see how the race pans out, as we got cars slowing down now. Very hesitant to get up close to the safety car because, of course, if you've played this game online at all, the safety car, which functions fine in single player, works beautifully, and it's a lot of fun. But in online, yeah, it decides to jump around and glitch and lag and pop out right in front of you, so you hit it. And for whatever reason, even though they hard coded in a parameter that automatically slows you down, even if you have your foot to the floor, they still put it in to where if you hit the safety car, you get disqualified. Which doesn't make sense to me, but that's the way it is. So that's why you see the first car, if you've not played this game online, that's why this first car is not getting anywhere near that safety car. Bortz, I honestly don't know what he's doing. He's put it in neutral. I guess he's trying to save as much fuel as he can. I've never seen that before, but that's quite funny, actually. So I think we're going to have one more lap under the safety car before it comes in. We can get back to racing. Hopefully there's more to this race than just safety car after safety car, because if that's true, I'm going to probably run out of things to talk about. But yeah, very hot in Valencia. Ever since it got moved in the calendar, it seems to be always just hot and dry, hot and dry. You think they put it sometime when it's wet, just because, that way, or generally wet at least, that way it's a little bit more interesting. Wet races are always a bundle of fun. Just ask everyone that was in Spa in 98, was it? I think it was 98 when they all decided to go into the first... Yeah, because it was in the era of backup cars. I don't know. I really should look that kind of stuff up before I say it on the air, but, F it, we're doing it live. So we're going to have one more lap of the safety car. And everyone and their mother is staying out. Came out way too early for anyone to be able to take advantage of it with the pit stop strategies and whatnot. And that's the one thing that's probably more than anything, because I guess depending on what kind of a driver you are, the whole fuel versus what tire you're on thing, when you pick what tire, what time it is, all that thing I think could be canceled out by two equal drivers. But the main thing with the tires is, when do you, besides weather of course, is when do you expect the safety car? Because it's almost always going to be a safety car online as the race goes on, or early on a lot of times, or as the race goes on. And my guess Bortz' mentality here is he thought, hey, I'm in a league with a lot of really good people. I'm assuming they're good people because Racedepartment doesn't, take any slouches. Figure safety car's not going to come out early enough, so hopefully it'll be just somebody late in the stint on worn tires that spears himself off. Let me put on the primes and hopefully jump them. But as we could see, that really didn't happen. It only lasted 3 corners, like I said. As the engineer reminds us, we can't overtake the safety car, but the game really won't let us. It'll only do anything if the safety car lags and runs into us. But yeah, I'm already complaining, and how far are we into this video? 10 minutes of an hour 25, and I'm already complaining. Oh god, this isn't going to go well. But yeah, hot Valencia, dry Valencia, most likely. And yeah, that bodes well for a lot of cars. We've seen, and we were talking about this on the Backmarkers podcast, that it really just seems like this year is all about the temperatures, not of the tires, not that you run your car at, but the temperature of the air, or in the track by proxy. 1 or 2 degrees, and you'll see cars drop like a stone. You'll see cars fly through the field. These conditions at Valencia, thinking it's going to be Lotus's weekend. McLaren will be strong. Sauber, well, they're always strong. They have great tire conservation, but I'm looking for Kimi to win. I hope so. Love the Kimster. Always a great race of the Iceman. And he gives that most interesting interviews because he doesn't say anything, but I can barely understand him, and he's so bored and drunk, but you know, it's okay. So safety car in this lap. Bortz is warming up those tires. Brakes look a little cold, though. Gonna have to warm those up. Probably gonna do one less bonsai dive into the final chicane, just to get a little heat into those brakes. Just so he doesn't spear the car in front of him on the first corner. So we see car up in front, not back at the backup all that much. Well, as I say that, he starts to. Wow. Okay. Way to make me look like an idiot, whoever's in the lead. Thank you. And here we go. Green flag's back out. Bortz is getting a little bit of wheel spin there on the curse a little bit early there. I think that's the curse. Yep, that's the curse. So here we go into the first corner. There going to be any first quarter dramas this time? Nope. We all good, baby. And we're going to be locked on behind chicane 4863 as somebody just lagged and dropped. So we've already got, I think, one dropped out before. Then we had the crash. Then we had someone disconnect and another person disconnect. So we're down to a grid of 12 from what was, I guess, a grid of 16. I'm assuming it was a grid of 16. But either way, Bortz getting a little bit too excited there, taking too much speed into the corner. Nothing too dramatic, though. As it looks like chicane's gaining on whoever's up in the lead. Slowly but surely, the Force City is closing the gap to that. I think that's a Red Bull. Looks the same as a Tire Rasa from this angle. Looked like he was getting a little bit too much understeer there, but nicely handled. Chicane had the worst end of it. Bortz downshifting a little bit too early there. As now, I'm not even going to... I hate it when people do that. All the letters and the different caps and stuff, it's like... the mischievous part of me wants to, like, say it literally. Like, when people put numbers in their names as letters to try to look cool and stuff. I say it literally, it gets a lot of people really annoyed. A weird time to hit the curves there, but hey, whatever works for you, Bortz. As we're losing a little bit of distance to the guy up in front, but guy behind's not making up any time, it seems like. So, looks like we're going to be settled in for the long haul now. Bit spread out. Actually, it looks like there's quite a big gap between a lot of the back end of the field and the front. I wondered if somebody had a moment back there. Can't really tell. But now 1.2 behind. Gonna need to get a little bit closer if you want to get that DRS on him. And chicane setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix by half a second. Wow. He's booking. Now, he is on the option tires. I did see that under the caution period. So that's kind of expected him to be faster. I'd be really surprised if he wasn't. I think he's going to get the DRS. I know it's only one lap after the safety car, but to be honest, sometimes the game just lets you use DRS the lap immediately after. So it looks like he's trying to go in there. Bortz, again, a little bit too much speed going into this corner. Ooh, a little bit oversteer there, but nicely caught. And let's see, how does the front edit? So chicane has taken, or no, he hasn't. Nice battle going on for the lead. I wish we could see that. Nice thing, though, for Bortz is they're going to be holding one another up, and Bortz can just cruise on up to them. As we see, it looks like chicane's going to not put another move on going into here. I thought he was for a second, but he just didn't have the run. It's early in the race. You don't want to risk a bonsai move like that this early, unless you absolutely have to. Or if you're driving a Ferrari and you're next to a Toyota. Idiot. Glad Davidson's okay. That's another story for another context. Oh, I mean, idiot Ferrari drivers. I mean, we have that in F1 too, but that's all I'm going to say about that before I go on a tangent. So it looks like Andrew's staying pretty steady to the pack ahead of him. Chicane is faster than Bortz at this moment on the option tires, but he's being held up in his battle with the leader. And Bortz carries some nice speed actually going into there. A little bit of a lockup, going to put a little more wear on the tires, but that gets him closer. He's going to pump that curves. And you know what? I think he might be in DRS range by the end of this corner. They're going to have to slow more because chicane's on the outside. And I think he's got it. He's going to, if he doesn't get DRS, he's definitely going to get slip on him. So chicane thinking about a move into Eau Rouge, but thinks better of it, especially after that first lap crash we had. Car behind's on standard. I think Bortz is on mix 3. Doesn't get the DRS, but critically is not swapping and swiping up there. Is he going to get this corner? Yes, he gets it better than chicane did. And chicane quickly, ooh, that was close. Chicane's quickly holding up Blakenzo? Yeah, Blakenzo. I honestly don't know what flag that is. I want to say it's... No, it's not Estonia. I know chicane. That's the Dutch flag. I don't know what the one up in front is. No, maybe it's Ethiopia. Oh, hits the magic rumble strip, as I like to call it. For whatever reason, that rumble strip, just according to the game, is a foot higher than the rest of them, and will send you bucking upwards. So we see battle up in front has let Andrew catch up massively. He's right on their asses now. So, what he's going to want to do is try to put himself up in the second place, not first, get the DRS on first, and take first. Right now, he seems to be faster. It's only going to be into the seventh lap. Maybe the options are starting to go on their cars. Both of them are on options. Bortz going to let chicane go by. A good sport. Much better than I would have been. I would have been like, suck it, and kept on going. A little bit of oversteer there, but critically is in DRS range now. So the two of them should be able to jump the, I'm just going to call it Estonian. The Estonian up in front. Apologies if it's not Estonia. I should look that up, but we're in a race. Can't be bothered with such things. So he's going to get the DRS. Ooh, nicely held there going through a Rouge. Bumpy, but nothing too dramatic. Bortz is going to probably be even keel. Yeah, pretty much even keel. A little bit faster, but he flicked it down to lead just to save some fuel. I'm assuming the next is going to be like a fuel conservation stint almost, and then just burn it all on the options. We're a little bit spaced out now. Chicane's backed off, whether that's due to tires or due to the fact that he was losing massive amounts of time. And he may now attempt to jump him in the pit stop phase. Chicane, I'm actually starting to think it's because of tires, because it's a lot of understeer to carry into that corner, and there as well. Scraping the bottom of his car on the curb. So now Bortz is being held up, whereas before chicane was pumping in the fast laps, he's now holding up Bortz, or she. I really don't know. I'm going to just say he for simplicity, as we lost connection to Igor Rushnik, and that was another guy who was actually in the race, didn't just join. So we should be now down to, I think, 11 people. Unless someone else is disconnected that I haven't noticed. I don't know why they're dropping so quickly and so dramatically, but they seem to be. This being a pre-qualification and all, I would assume that everyone would be going for it, unless they're already through. I have no idea anything about this league that they're going for, so I just commentate. I just talk. I have no idea. I could probably give it a go, but I'd probably spear it into the wall in the first corner, so I'll have to look that up. If Bortz gets through, if this race goes well, I might have to do some more commentary on the actual races after, the qualification stages and whatnot. So, Grave 2000 CA, don't know if that means Canada or not, set in fast lap times. I think it's the second fastest lap time. 9/10 of a second faster than Bortz. As we got Nice Dude. Ooh, that's a bit cheeky. Bit cheeky indeed. Such a Nice Dude wasn't such a nice dude. But, it's a fair pass. Got the inside, a little bit bonsai, but, made it sick without too much drama. So well done. Bortz's tires might be starting to fade. Maybe Such a Nice Dude. Nice dude. Whatever. Had damage from that first incident. We really didn't see what happened behind. I don't know if cars came back on track and slid around, so maybe he came in for primes and that's why he's so much faster. Being able to overtake Bortz. So we've seen in career mode he puts up a hell of a fight. But, yeah, so right now Bortz in P4. His teammate behind him in P5. That's not how you take that corner. Little bit of gravel on the tires, but nothing too dramatic. Gonna smack that curves now. Try to stay within DRS range, but I don't think he's gonna be able to get it. Unless Dude makes a mistake somewhere up in here. I mean, this is an easy corner to go off on if you bounce off the curves. Or you take too much speed like Bortz did a little bit, but nothing too dramatic. More curves. And we're not going to get DRS this time. But, critically, Dude going faster. This much faster means he's going to have to start battling with with Chicane, I think it was. Which means hopefully that'll bring them back to Bortz. Somebody else is joining because they like to watch. And the Canadian, until I've proven otherwise, I'm going to call him the Canadian, has set another fastest lap time, so he is flying. Whether or not he's on a new set of tires or whatever, ooh, nicely held. He might be on a fast mix, he might be trying to burn his fuel early. That's what I tend to do. I tend to try to burn as much fuel as I can early. Then conserve it for the last like 4 laps or so, and then just blow it all. Full throttle, mix to the max, and just use it up. But one thing I do pride myself on, though, I'm not the best driver, I'm not the fastest driver, but so far in F1 2011, I've played since launch, and I have never, ever, during a race, during qualifying a few times, never ever during a race have I run out of fuel. So fuel management, I'm like him, you know, I can manage the fuel, and I am quick when I need to be, and I tell my to back off, and I back off, and it's just okay. So now on lap 9, going to be on lap 10. It looks like the clouds are clearing a little bit, so maybe not going to see any rain. I know it said, you know, no chance of rain, but you never know. As I said in the beginning, this is spot. Whoa, and his teammates caught up to him. So Bortz is either this is tactical or he's just off the pace. Maybe his teammate's just really fast because we could see. Well, hang on a minute. They haven't come in yet. The front two haven't come in yet, and they're still in their original set of options. Curious. They might be going for just a 2-stop race. Bortz, as we saw in the beginning, was supposed to do a 3-stop. Whether or not he sticks to that, we'll have to wait and see. As the guy that came in to watch obviously saw what he was wanting, found what he was looking for, and then decided to quit, as Bortz's teammates got to fly by him with that DRS open. Bortz is going to flick it up, try to stay close to get that position back. We saw Doctor go a little bit deep, but nothing dramatic. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know what tires Mutant was on. He passed a bit too quickly. I think those look like primes. So they both should be coming in at around the same time. So position's going to be key. Whoever has the lead obviously is, well, if they follow racing etiquette, is entitled to pit first. So then it becomes a matter of, do they both have damage? If none of them have damage, I know Bortz doesn't. If Mutant has no damage, they should be able to, depending on the gap, stack the pit stops on the same lap. And the crew should be able to just get him in and out quickly enough. It all depends. But we see, even though Bortz is losing places, this whole front pack seems to be a lot further ahead than the rest of the field. We have Julzer kind of on his own. And then we have a pack of backmarkers. And then we have a guy way in the ass in the field. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, somebody's just now going into Eau Rouge. They can't be having a good day. Pietro Fantastic, that's another name that I know. Evil, and I don't know if this guy was in the race. It doesn't look like anyone's dropped out. The guy who likes to watch The Voyeur has come back again, as we see a Mutant lock in his tires. Bortz is going to get a run on him. A little bit of slip on the rears means his tires are starting to go off due to pit next lap. So, yeah, we'll have to see. It looks like Mutant's tires are going too, so we'll have to see if Bortz can overtake him, thereby earn the right to pit first. So somebody else is fitting an option. So probably going option prime. Maybe another prime? Not sure. Teammate, both of them are running fuel conservation mode, which explains why one of them's not pulling a massive gap. Or closing a gap. But you know what? Even though Bortz has been getting overtaken, like I said, this entire front pack seems to be on similar pace. The option runners up in front, they're going to be slower now, but you know, they're still holding out for a decent length of time. 11 laps on a set of options. If they can do that, wonder what they could stretch their primes to. Could they double it and just do 2-stop option, 1-stop prime? Or excuse me, 1 stop for options and then 1 stop for primes. I don't know. It depends on whether or not we have another safety car, if there's any more dramas up at the front. It all depends. You have to wait and see, but I expect a flurry of activity within the next couple laps going into the pits, and whoever gets the best in and out laps is going to be the one who comes out in the front of this pack, because we're all stacked up. Bortz using DAT curves, And is he going to try to make a move on Mutant going into the final chicane? It looks like he just might. Mutant going off a little bit. Bortz not going to have any of that. Not going to try and bonsai his way through. And, alright, there we go. Chicane is into the pits. Going for a set of God only knows what, because I bet you the engineer's not going to tell us. Bortz is due to pit this lap. The other thing I haven't taken into account, I don't know if these guys are on Skype together working out their strategies or whatnot, so it'll be interesting to see if they get to pick their teammates. All of that factors in. We can see first, second, third. One after the other, going into Eau Rouge with pretty much equal gaps in between them. Looks like Bortz is a little bit further behind. Oh, he's got DRS. That's going to work in his favor. When would it not work in your favor, though, to be honest? That was kind of a stupid comment. As it would appear, though, that Mutant had DRS up on the Estonian. Taking that curve nicely. Looks like Bortz's tires still have some life left in him yet. He's able to attack these curbs very hard. Very nicely done. Now on normal fuel, he has some fuel in the bank. So maybe he's going to try to conserve it and then burn it all during his 2 option stints? I don't know. It could work, but he could also handicap himself in his first stint on the option tires, carrying too much fuel. We'll have to wait and see. Leader's tires have definitely gone off. He is slowing massively. I believe he also was on the options. I said he was earlier, but to be honest, I'm not so sure. I just kind of inferred that since he was staying on pace with Chicane. Chicane was on options. So we'll have to wait and see. Sport's going to come in this lap. He's got enough of a gap, I think. If Mutant doesn't have enough, it doesn't have any damage, rather, I think they'll be able to stack it from this sort of a gap. I think let's be able to just do 1-2. What's he going to do? Nope, he's not going to have any of that. Teammate comes in. Or is it going to come in next lap? One more lap. One more time round. Actually, wait, no, I'm wrong. Or his teammate stayed out. Oh, shit, this is going to get interesting. So, actually, setting the fastest lap of the race on what are worn primes. So there's still life left in these tires. It'll be interesting to see. Bortz is staying out 1 extra lap. Usually in career mode, that means he's going to get a puncture and spear off in the wall. As we have another car destroying himself. Aerial Spiriture. Don't know where he was. Don't know how he was doing. Don't know how he was faring. Don't know anything about him. So, I can't really make a comment as to his crash, but needless to say, carbon fiber is everywhere, somewhere on the track. I think that was a Murray Walker moment. As there's Grave in P10. He might be out of sync with the pit stops, but for someone setting fast lap times, that's not where you want to be. He's got to be getting blue flags. Don't know why. He is Canadian, so I was right on that account. I don't know why he's not moving out of the way for the leader. Not the most kind move, I might want to say. As we lost Pietro. I think he's another Dutchman, or Belgian, like Steve. Not quite sure though. But that time behind the back marker and just some general uneasiness with the tires means that Mutant's opened up quite a gap to Bortz, 3.3 seconds. But definitely from this distance, if both of them pit on the same lap, they will be able to stack it. Again, assuming that Mutant has no damage. So we'll have to see what Bortz does. Having to slow massively. I don't know if that was just a bad gear selection or if he's having issues. Bortz gonna stay out again. Both of them actually are staying out again. So, I don't know. Is this a waiting game to try to see whose tires cliff first? I mean, they don't look horrible, Bortz's tires, but front left definitely needs some love. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. I would tend to come in simply because we've seen Mutant setting the fast times on the worn tires. Bortz comes in for a fresh set. Should be able to get the jump on him in the pits, or if not, from this distance, at least close the gap significantly. And, yeah, every lap that he's out there, he might be staying within the same range to his teammate up in front, but the guys behind him on the fresh tires are just making up time, lap by lap by lap. So Mutant's still running fuel conservation mode. He's going for one big push at the end, it would seem. I don't know what Bortz is doing. I don't know what he's thinking. Is he getting faked out thinking that his teammate's pitting? Sky's definitely clearing now, so the chances of rain are diminishing by the minute. Let's see. I don't know if SuchANiceDude came in. I think he did. We'll have to wait and see what the gap is to him, because that's going to show us basically how much time Bortz has lost staying out on these old tires. Got a 10th back on Mutant, but still, I'm more worried about the guy behind. Wait and see for that time to pop up, that delta. 9 seconds, ooh. So if Dude has pitted, and I believe he has, Bortz has basically just taken any advantage that he might have had and thrown it away. He's now going to have to battle him. Staying out again! I do not agree with this. Staying out lap after lap on these worn tires. Bortz is obviously using the tires harder than some other people. But again, maybe he's not using them as hard as Mutant because he's just clawed back a half second. I don't know if Mutant had a moment somewhere. Maybe he did. But I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Maybe they're just going to make me eat my words. It's happened before. We'll have to see how this pans out. The Estonian has set the fastest lap. 7/10 of a second faster. Oh no. 1.7 seconds faster. Math helps. Helps a lot. So if he keeps setting those fast times. Don't know what tires he's on though. He might, for all I know, be on another set of options. He might be going late primes. The third option, no pun intended, obviously is to split two option stints with a prime stint or two. Or mix it up. There's all sorts of numbers of permutations that you could do with these tires, but I'm thinking most of the field is going to stick to a more traditional option start, prime finish, or prime start, option finish, not mix and match. Well, that is a valid strategy, I guess. I mean, start off fast on an options, run fuel conservation on the primes, and then blast it at the end of another set of options. It seems though that there's a whole window in there where you have to be nursing your tires and on high fuel. I don't know. It could work. We'll have to see. I really wish that, I think, they might. I'll have to do more research for my next race. Maybe they do, but it'd be nice if they, kept an aggregate count, basically. Just, had some form of tally where they just showed every driver what stint they ran for the race, when their fastest laps were. It'd be quite cool, I do have to say so myself. Bortz's teammate goes in. He closed enough of a gap that he can't just stack the pit stops. He would get held up if he were to come in right behind. So he takes the lead now, out of sequence, as you can imagine, as Mutant's coming in for, who knows. Oh! Damn! 4.7 seconds. Yikes. With the Estonian only a second behind. This might not work out well. So I'll have to wait and see. The question now becomes, with 16 laps gone from this race, does Bortz stick with his 3-stop strategy, or does he now switch to a 2-stop? We know the primes could go 16 laps. That means another set of primes would take him to lap 32, which would then mean he'd only have to do 12 laps on a set of options. 12 on a set of options, but we saw the leaders do it. Maybe Bortz is now going to attempt a 2-stop instead of a 3-stop, coming in for another set of primes on lap 30, whatever. 32, 33. Something roundabouts there. Excuse me. Take a drink there. Sorry about that. But we now know that these tires can keep a respectable pace. I mean, Bortz isn't setting any records here. But he's not falling off as dramatically as I thought he would. And when the leader's fastest lap is only less than 2 seconds faster when I think he's on option tires, that just shows you that this pace can be maintained. And if the lead cars have to do their last stint long on a set of primes, and Bortz is on a set of fresh options, it could work out well for him. We've opened up 2 more seconds on Dude, so he's obviously had a moment somewhere, or he's defending hard from the Estonian. I don't know, to be honest. Here we go. Bortz is coming in for the pits. Misses his end. Oh, jeez, that was a little close. So here we go. In the pit box. Let's see if the HRT boys can do their thing. Bortz is going for another set of primes, confirming it, because sometimes the game likes to just switch it on its own. Here we go. Tires off, new rubbers on, and we're ready for more fun. That was a load of sexual innuendo. I'm not even going to extrapolate on. I could, but I'll leave that for our podcast. As Bortz comes out in P6 in P6 behind Zomker. Zomker? Whatever. But it seems like there are different strategies at play here because the gap to the leading cars is not as big as it was at once. Bortz is going to be able to... Ooh, nice slice and dice. But Chicane says, I am faster than you. He's hooked up behind, I think those are both Force Indias. I could be wrong, though. So now Bortz is going to have to try and clear this traffic. I think it's fair to say he's faster than these two. He was keeping pace with Chicane when they were both on, when Chicane was on options, rather, and Bortz was on primes. And I think Chicane's on primes now. So he now just needs to be able to clear Chicane ASAP. And the guy up in front of him, Zomker, not going to try to make a face. Oh, a little bit of oversteer there from Chicane. A little bit slippery. You could tell he's pushing. He doesn't want to give this place up easily, but I mean, he's going to have to. Whether or not he likes it, the DRS will kick in this lap, and he will be taken. It's just a matter of how hard he makes it for Bortz as Bortz goes for the curves. What's Bortz going to do? He's got the inside. They are both on prime, so Bortz will have the speed advantage based on the prior laps, and nicely done. Clean pass on the inside. And now we're up to P5. P4 up next. I mean, what other place would be up next? I don't know. But when you get into calculus things, I mean, you could see some weird stuff happen. That's another story for another day, though. It's a Sauber up in front. I was wrong. It's not another Force India. Bortz not going to have the DRS, depending on... That's one thing I don't know on Spa, and it's funny that whatever reason, even though I've been playing this game for, a year and a half now, I still don't know where is the detection zone here at Spa. Because some people seem to think that it's before the first corner, and some think it's in between the first corner and Eau Rouge. I really don't even know. I don't even remember where it was in real F1, to be quite honest. That was a while ago. But yeah, we see Zomker going a little wide. Zomaker. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. I apologize, but I'm an American. I'll use that executive privilege and get out of jail free. Any Americans listening to this now probably get what I'm referencing if you're in tune with politics, but if not, I won't extrapolate. As it seems like now we're catching Zomaker, Zomman, whatever. He seems to be struggling. I don't know. Is he on a different kind of strategy? It seems like he's struggling with these tires. Either that or he's just getting intimidated by Bortz. I know Bortz scares me. Every time he comes along for a joint commentary and he's on Skype with me or TeamSpeak, I nearly wet myself every time he says something because he's just such a scary figure. So he's closed massively on old Zomster. Gonna get the DRS on him this time. Bortz's teammate setting fastest times on I don't know what tires, but on the fresh ones. Bortz 145.666. Yikes, not good. And gonna get a run. Might even be able to get by Zomker on the before the DRS. Pops it open. And here we go! Nicely passed. No Kobayashi Hamilton moments this time. Bortz getting a little bit deep there. A little bit too far. But nicely committed. Holds the car in line. And keeps on going as we go downhill and down the hairpin. We saw a little bit of dust there kicked up from Bortz's teammate up in front of him. So a little bit of a moment there from Bortz, a little bit of a moment from his teammate. So we can see whoever's leading this race is getting quite a bit of a gap. But again, I can't stress this enough. He could be on a completely different strategy, so don't draw any conclusions from that as we near the halfway point of this race. Man, it's only the halfway point. I'm going to run out of things to talk about soon. So while we have this significant enough gap to Mutant Doctor, 5.5 seconds, nearest matters. He needs to pick up the pace, the engineer says. Just needs another 65 hundredths of a second to get himself out of DRS range. Shouldn't be too hard to do with the burst of curves. But the Valencia Grand Prix, like I said earlier, Kimi for the win. Want the Iceman on top. I'd like to see Hamilton win, but I feel that, after winning a race in Canada with his pit crew still screwing up, I think they'll get him out of another race. I don't know what it is with the mechanics at McLaren, but I don't know what it is with the management at McLaren not firing the mechanics at McLaren, but that is what that is. Bortz 2 seconds slower than his fastest lap on that last lap, but he did get held up a little bit going into Eau Rouge by Zomker. It just sounds better than Zomature, so I'm guessing it's supposed to be a K. I don't know, I could be wrong. What was I talking about? Valencia, yeah. Well, can you really blame me for digressing? I mean, it's going to be a boring-ass race. It's going to be in the dry, and whoever is up top is probably going to have a good chance of winning it, unless they get jumped in the pit stop phases, somebody else has a contra strategy, or Weber decides to take flight once again. I shouldn't really pick on Valencia. I mean, it could be interesting for all I know. 2012 has been interesting, for better or for worse, but don't want to start a debate on the merits or demerits of Pirelli on Bortz's comment section, because probably would lead to a lot of screaming and shouting, knowing the internet. So we're now only, wait, hold up. So Bortz's teammates actually jumped Lorenzo, the Estonian. Again, if he's not Estonian, all the Estonians out there are going to be really angry with me. Direct your anger towards Pete Allen. He's famous over there. Paddock Scout. Always a good source for figuring out who the up-and-coming drivers are going to be in the feeder series that really don't get any attention whatsoever. Not deservedly either. There's some great racing to be had there. Some questionable racing to be had, too. By that one Russian guy with the Marussia GP3 team, or GP2 in Bahrain. That was quite interesting. Can't fault them for trying. They're using every single extra little bit of the track. But yeah, as we settle in for the long haul. Now, 42 minutes into this video. Usually this is about where the highlights wrap up. But not this one, baby. We still got another 40 minutes to go. I'm just getting started. We seem to be catching Mutant a little bit. Not dramatically, but ooh, that's not the... Ooh, that could have snapped a tire off. Luckily held, though. No tire snappage going on today. So we're definitely catching Mutant. Then it becomes a question of who's up in front of him. How far is he? I wonder. We've got about 4/10 on Mutant. Caught back up. The leading car is just now going into excuse me. And just went into the final chicane. Mutant's just entering there now. So they're all staying within a reasonable range of one another, which is good to see. It's no fun when somebody pulls a Vettel and just runs away with it at the beginning. But yeah, ooh, actually just gained another 10th or so. So we're definitely catching. Whether or not that keeps up depends on what Bortz is going to do. I mean, if he stays out on another on these primes for an extra stint worth of time, and decides to transfer only onto one set of options, he could make it work. But if he goes for 2 more sets of options, we'll have to wait and see. So we are halfway through this race. Taking some sips of water there. Trying to keep myself hydrated so my voice doesn't crack and embarrass me in front of all of the internets. You don't want to hear it. It's not well. It's actually, has Mutant really caught up with... It depends. There are 2 cars there, and I don't know which one of them is the leader and which one of them is the back marker. If the 2 of them are close enough together, that favors Bortz. But he can't do what he did again. Those tires are just so dead at the end. If he can't keep up the pace, he's going to have to do 2 more stops, I think, if he wants to stay competitive. Because he lost a shitload of time. I mean, the pit stop is slower here because you got the really long pit lane. So let's just give it around 20 just for sake of discussion, Bortz had a 4-second lead on another guy who pit in. As soon as this, oh shit! That's the back marker. Get out of the way! What the hell are you doing? Obviously doesn't know what blue flags mean. Needs to get your ass off the line, and that was dangerous too. Breaking that early on the racing line. Yes, Bortz is on the side, but if Bortz decided he wanted to try to get a bit of a draft on him, could have just destroyed his front wing. I don't know what that guy's playing at. I hope he doesn't make the qualification rounds. Yikes. Well, with that out of the way, we now know that the leader is just now going into that chicane up there. Bortz did get DRS on the back marker, so I guess he served one useful purpose besides scaring Bortz and me and being an idiot. Now we're catching Mutant by a decent clip. Might have him within the next 5 laps or so. Bortz can keep this up. DRS definitely helping him close the gap. I wonder, though, if the leader's on a set of options, meaning all of the rest of his tires are probably going to be that scares me every time that bounces. The video is an hour and 20 minutes, so I think I could safely assume that Bortz doesn't crash himself out, but it is still scary nonetheless to see that car bouncing like that. He's on normal fuel settings. 3 laps up on his fuel protection, so he can flick it up at any time. His projected stop is at lap 25, but remember, that is assuming he does a 3-stop race. If he decides to change over to a 2-stop, you'd be looking for him to come in at around lap 32. That would mean 6 laps beyond his stopping point. But then again, I don't know if that's automatically changed itself with the fact that Bortz stayed out about, 3 or 4 laps extra on the set of tires. So, he may be able to, within a normal tire window, stay out to lap 28 or so. And then beyond that, well, if you add that out, if this didn't change, you add that up, that would be the normal pit stop, quote-unquote, for what he did with the first stint. Another guy destroys his car. Haven't lapped him yet. I think he was one of the ones that was kind of in no man's land. So normal stop would be 28, assuming that that is incorrect. Meaning he'd only have to stretch his tires for another 4 laps to get within a 3 or 2-stop window. He could do it, but it just matters at how much the tires have gone by then. As while I was yammering, the Estonian came in for a pit stop. So it's once again 1-2 for the HRTs. Write that down because you'll probably never ever hear it again. And yeah, Bortz not taking so much curb that time. He's learned his lesson. Does not want to snap his suspension off. As isn't that around where Coulthard and Schumacher came together back in the day? When Schumacher almost beat the bejesus out of Coulthard. That was funny watching the pre-race with Coulthard and Schumacher together. That had awkward written all over it, especially considering what they'd been through with one another. As Bortz is slowly, and I mean very slowly, catching his teammate. 2.8 seconds. About 4 or 5 laps ago, it was 3.1, so making progress, catching up, but it's not happening at any rapid rate. If Bortz wants to have a shout at winning this thing, he's going to have to get a bit of a move on. Flick that fuel mix up and go for it, Andrew. Actually, 2.2. Okay, maybe Mutant's tires have completely died. I say that, maybe Bortz doesn't have to push at all. Maybe he can just stay happily where he is. Like I said, wouldn't be surprised. He just loves to make an idiot out of me when I'm commentating. I don't know why Mutant just took a defensive line there. Bortz is nowhere near him. He's not going to bonsai from that far out. He'd have to be like E-Day caliber to do that, and he's not. So now going into Bortz is actually catching by quite a bit now. That was just a 10th just in those first couple sectors. Off of the 1 second that he gained somewhere. I think Mutant made a mistake. Maybe Bortz had a really, really solid lap. I'm not quite sure. His fastest lap's now 1:45.13, so getting up there. Not fastest lap overall pace. That would be another second. But again, remember that was on another set of tires. That was on the options. Now, when Bortz puts these options on, I think a 43, high 43s, mid 43s wouldn't be too uncalled for if he's going for a 3-stop. Then his next option, you could expect the low 140s, 141s, stuff like that. But it all depends. Bortz, this stint, excuse me, is definitely more consistent, not as much sliding as his previous stint. Probably not pushing as hard as he could just so that he can get this to work. I am thoroughly convinced he's now going to go for a 2-stop strategy, with just one set of options at the end, unless another safety car comes out somewhere along the line, and which gets Bortz to do some quick thinking and some quick mathematical calculations to work out just exactly what tire to be on. He has to come in for a set of options unless it starts pouring with rain somewhere, by the rules. So it would just be a matter of, does he go on to a set of options and then under safety car come in one more time for a set of prize? Zamacher comes out with a 144.2. So actually, not even quite a second. That is within the, I would say, expected range of the different tire compounds. Zamacher has already come in for a set of option. And Bortz, now starting to significantly reel in Mutant, is now always in visual range, no matter where he goes. I'm going to say that's within sub 2 seconds. Just trying to guess the gap here from visuals. Not always the most accurate thing, but give you a pretty good idea. Now Bortz is starting to push. You can see him getting quick with the down. Whoa, that's way within the under 2 second range. 1.2 seconds. He's going to give it a whole squirt of curves. That sounded dirty. Trying to get within that 1 second window. He wants to take first place. If he can dictate the pit stops, he might just be able to make a 3-stop work. If he's caught his teammate, don't know what strategy his teammate's on. Don't know what strategy Bortz is on, to be honest. Just guessing at this point. Can make it work. One final little push occurs. And he's so close. It depends. Second faster than Doctor. So either Doctor's tires have cliffed or he's really conserving fuel. Like I said, I don't know if these guys are on Skype together. I don't know if they've even picked each other as teammates, so there may or may not be team orders going on. It would make sense at this point with the two of them being the only cars on the track besides this back marker here. Oh shit, there's contact! What is that guy doing? What is he doing? Is it Canada again? You idiot! Oh my god. Damaged the front wing of Mutant, not much, but that means he's going to lose 2 seconds in the pit stop phase. Bortz had the DRS, as you heard from the little beeping sound. Now got himself within, I would say that gap's a lot less than 0.8. I would say that's about half a second right there. Gonna get the hook up on Mutant. Pull himself up. Still hasn't flicked it up to Rich, though. So, he could still make that work for the tire stint, I would say. He could probably make a full fuel work. So this is going to be lap 28 next up. We're on lap 27 now, and this is within the expected window after what Bortz did on the first set of tires. Expect him to pit around now within a lap or two if he's going to go for a 3-stop. If he extends it out to lap 32, then it's pretty confident to say, or beyond even, it's pretty confident to say that he's going for a 2-stop race. And it all depends. I mean, Mutant's tires have cliffed, but he's been pushing harder. He's been up there with the trying to reel in the Estonian. Okay. Well, if Mutant was coming into the pits, he's not now. Credit to him, though, if he was. I thought he would have, but he had decided to not cut Bortz off. Bortz might, just a little bit of a lift. Brakes a little bit early. Doesn't have to try to take Mutant bonsai style going into the first corner. He's going to get DRS. He should get past him this lap. Going into Eau Rouge, see what the grip levels are like. Bortz, so much more grip than Mutant. Mutant's tires definitely need changing. Bortz getting the DRS. Whoa, why is Mutant blocking him? Why is he... Okay, so it's safe to assume now, I think, that they haven't picked each other as teammates. Because teammates would have just let him by. He's got DRS, he's going to get by you anyway. Your tires are obviously gone. All you're going to do by doing this is just hold yourself up more than you're holding him up. He'll blow by you at some point. You're just doing more damage to yourself than good. See what the gap is to Nice Dude. The next timing phase, that won't be until the last couple slow corners. Mutant getting a bit of a tire in the grass there. It's dry, so it's not that big of a deal, but if this were wet, oh boy, it would be you spin me right round, baby. We're hooked up now behind Mutant. Gonna get less downforce on the front. All that turbulent hot air coming off of his car. Not gonna make any kind of bonsai moves. He's got the curves. Question's gonna become, what does he do? He could get a guaranteed pass under DRS. If he gets past now, Mutant will have DRS. Mutant defending. This time a bit of a more fair defense. I mean, last time was a bit too aggressive of a defense, if that makes sense. That was just fair, though. Staying on the racing line. He's entitled to do it. This is for position. Bortz getting a little bit out of sorts there. Hitting all that curves. Wastes about 20 units of it. Do not know if he got the DRS there. It depends on where the detection line is. I think it is before the first corner, simply because he wouldn't have gotten it on the back marker if it wasn't, so it depends on if he was able to make up that last couple hundredths of a second. Yep, he did. There we go. DRS is engaged. Not going to be able to pass Mutant on this lap, but will definitely close. Or, excuse me, on this straight. It'll definitely close up. Setting the fastest first sector as the Canadian thankfully destroys his vehicle, so he will no longer be a moving chicane. Now, all these destroyed vehicles, we haven't had a second safety car yet, but the question becomes, will we see one? If we do see one, it might work into Bortz's favor, because then you come in and get a fresh set of tires without having to worry about, is it going to synchronize with the other strategies. We're now on lap 29, so this is like a critical lap, I would say. If he doesn't pit in now, it's pretty safe to assume that he's going for a 2-stop. If he were to try to make a 3-stop work with only 14 laps to go, that would be 7. Oh, that's not how you do it. Oh, whoa. But, dude, SuchANiceDude was flying. Bortz getting out of shape there. Just a little bit too aggressive on the entry there. Using most of his curves now to try to make up that time. Now, the question will be, how much does Dude get held up by Bortz's teammate? I say teammate loosely now. Zomaker is only 12 seconds behind. That's a bit under a length of a pit stop. Bortz isn't coming in this lap. I'm going to call it now that he's going to switch himself over to a 2-stop race. No safety car yet, so it's pretty safe to assume that he's not coming out ever. Little bit of lag there. I think that's on the game's end and not my end, hopefully. Yeah. What I was going on about before Bortz scraped the grass or the gravel a little bit was, if he were to come in now and try to make a 3-stop race work, that would mean he'd be going 2 stints, 7 laps each on options. It's a little bit too short, I think, considering that they were able to stretch the options to lap 12 earlier, the leaders. It's safe to assume that Bortz can make that extra 2 laps work. He's good enough to do that. So, now it's just a matter of how far do you go so that your options stay fresh or longer, if that makes any sense. He's not losing bucket loads of time. He would still be comfortably close to the leader. Well, now second place, as Sony is... I think that was Sony. I'm not sure, though, to be honest. I was more concentrating on Bortz almost spinning it. Breezes past Mutant. Mutant giving a lot less hell to him than he did his supposed teammate. Besides that gravel trip, Bortz isn't losing bucket loads of time, so he can make these primes last. I think he's going to try to take him just to the edge of the cliff and then back away before committing to a 1,000-foot plunge. He seems to definitely have a rhythm with his curves. I definitely well practiced in that matter. I tend to kind of use it randomly just whenever I feel like it, but Bortz definitely has a pattern to it. Still damage to the front wing of the car in front. So if you can stay within about 2 seconds or so of this guy, Mutant Doctor, he'll get the jump on him just by default because Bortz only needs to have tires changed. That's assuming that Bortz doesn't find a wall somewhere or another back marker. And as it did, I don't know why I just said it like that. I tried to do a Borat impression. It didn't quite work. It's a bit too late for that. I'm not awake enough. Go right to bed after casting. It's late. I'm tired. But there's a race on. And where there's a race, I've got to cast. The clouds are building up again, so could we see some rain at the end? I don't know. Have to wait and see. Bortz definitely taking a more aggressive line through that complex. If I were him, I'd flick the mix-up and try to see what I could do about Mutant, knowing that he's going to have a 2-second advantage no matter where he is. Try to close the gap. Try to justify staying out on these tires. It seems like Mutant is worse off than Bortz when it comes to tire wear. Maybe he has more downforce on. Maybe he has a bit more of a slippy driving style. Or Hamilton-esque, if you will. We'll have to see. It's really clouding up now. That happened really quickly. Wonder if the rain's going to come down. It's going to cool off, though, meaning tires won't wear as much. This could play into Bortz's hands. Depends on what he does, really. Going to be another 16 laps on these primes. So if we assume that options are meant to be half the durability, and they're better than half, but let's just say half for the sake of argument, that would be 8 laps. That would get Bortz right now, since he's not pitting, to lap 40. And since he's already got 4 up on the primes, that means 4 up on the options should be easy enough. And the option tires are better than half the durability. So, Bortz is now firmly within a 2-stop window, excuse me. So now it just matters, how does he play this? He wants to get those options as late as possible, to stay as fresh as possible. Flick that mix up. Gonna have the DRS on his teammate, quote unquote. Is he gonna make it hard for him again? Decides not to this time. There you go, that's how you do it. Bortz setting the fastest, whoa! By 0.7 of a second. And NiceDude, not the Estonian, excuse me. NiceDude isn't pulling that much of a gap. Bortz is still setting quick times. You don't get 7/10 just from DRS alone. He's still doing. Ooh. Car caught the grip just there, close to the apex. I thought for a second he was going to slide into the wall, but he didn't. Now I don't know when NiceDude came in for his pit stop. He still might be on a 3-stop strategy. I don't know. So we'll have to see. Behind all that, though, it looks like the rest of the field is kind of just spread out. No one really getting close together besides these front 3. Caught by the teammate behind, but that shouldn't last too much longer. Really clouding up now. And yeah, trying to figure out what Bortz is going to do. Trying to think like him. I'm nowhere near as good as him, but there we go. Coming in for the stop. Oh, a little bit of a bump on the wall, but no damage. And teammate didn't come in behind him, luckily for him. Bortz going on to the set of options, as you'd expect. Mandated to run both set of dry tires, as it hasn't rained yet. So now the question becomes, 11 laps. You going to try to do one stop on him? Is he going to come in again?
Go now.
5.2 second stop, nowhere near the best I've ever seen. Pretty crappy, considering it was just a change for tires. So he might not get the advantage that I thought he would. Typically a change with the wing is about 6.5, 7 seconds. He might not have the advantage that I thought he would. Bortz is in P4 now, behind Zomker, ahead of the Estonian. That Canadian guy keeps joining and unjoining, probably peeling, begging for his life. But hopefully he doesn't make the pre-qualifier. Beyond that, rather, for all the sakes of the decent drivers out there. I have no problem with back markers, but if you're going to be a back marker, you get out of the way. You don't do that crap. That annoys me to no end. Bortz definitely not holding back now. He can see Zomaker ahead of him. Probably going to get him within the next, I'd say, 3 laps or so. Then it becomes a matter of, can he just floor this outlap? It depends. He's only 11 seconds slower in the first sector. 10 seconds now. It is not a 10-second pit stop. He is flying. Engineer telling him he should pit soon? I'm confused and confuddled. Okay, so it hasn't automatically adjusted. So I was right. Not something I get to say very often, but I was right. Zomker's getting into the pits. Looks like Bortz's teammate is in the pits now. And Bortz has trounced him. Utterly trounced him. He's going to get a massive lead. Nice. Nicely played, Andrew. As they're already calling for another pit stop because for whatever reason they decided came in 2 laps. Why not come in for another? Bortz is going to say no, no, no. Flicked it up to faster. Going to try to burn through as much fuel as he can now. Setting a time that's 12 seconds up on his last time, I surely hope. Because if he's sitting a 132, I'm going to have to accuse him of cheating. So now, 17 seconds behind Dude. It depends on whether or not Dude's going to come in again. I believe he was one of the guys going option, prime, or prime. And it depends. It depends on how much information is being shared between these guys. It could be on Skype, so for all I know, they're all talking about what they're doing. I doubt it, but it could be. So depending on what kind of information everyone's gathering. Don't know whether or not Dude can make a 2-stop work. It depends on his setup. It depends on how he's driving. He seems to be booking it, but at the same time, I mean, we saw Bortz in some damn fast times on a worn set of primes. So let's see. I'm looking on the mini-map now, and no, he's coming in. So 17-16 second gap even. Depends on if he has damage. Excuse me, water. It depends on whether or not he has damage. If he has no damage, he should be leaving now. Which he is. He's on the move. What's Bortz going to be able to do? 141. Jesus, Bortz, slow down. There we go. Dude is out right next to Bortz. Right behind him is Bortz. That's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Do not know what tires he's on behind him. But it depends. Bortz, although he'll be faster, he's trying to stretch these options extremely long compared to what he originally was going to. So, if the guy's on primes, he might be actually at an advantage because he might be able to set more consistent times. Bortz already down to optimal fuel. But he's not going to be able to back off now. He's got Dude right behind him. He's want to get him at least out of DRS range before flicking that back down. Nicely done. Again, just a little bit of understeer on entrance there. He's going to mix it back down to standard. He'd probably want to put it back on lean just to be sure because optimal fuel really isn't optimal. Optimal just means you might be good, you might not be good, but we're not going to tell you. Which is strange because the engineers have exact measurements. Although then again, after the McLaren debacle in Spain, I really don't know what the engineers know anymore. As although, well, okay, Bortz just increased the gap to 4/10ths down from 5/100ths. So, nicely done. Whether or not he'll be able to get him out of DRS range, that's another matter entirely. That Canadian guy is still coming back. God. Bortz, let's see what he can do. Oh, excuse me. Not pulling in the gap. Dude has caught up. Now we're going to have to see Bortz is going to have to defend against DRS. For sure. As Felipe would say. Probably use all of his, well, I was going to say use all of his curves on the straight. Just use it in 7th gear to boost the horsepower and try to counter the speed of that DRS. Because it depends on what he does. Is he going to use it? Whoa, God. Okay, they're both on options. So this is a proper battle for the win now. Both of them are going to have similar deg. Not exactly. I think Bortz is a bit easier on his tires, usually. But now he's going to be going for it. This is a battle for the lead. Let's see how it turns out. Bortz is on standard fuel, whereas the guy in front of him is on fast fuel settings, and they both go a little bit wide there. Bortz, I think, got the worst end of it, but nothing too amazingly bad. Amazingly bad. I gotta get a phrase book or something. Might help. Probably would help. If anyone has an old one of those, send it my way. Let's see. Very scary. Bortz trying to make up the time. He does a little bit, and is helped a little bit by the fact that Dude just went off a tiny bit in there, a little bit of brush on the gravel. Bortz flicking those gears down quickly, though, to try to get the extra braking power and get through that corner faster, but you know, it's a double-edged sword. It could backfire and put him into the gravel again, which, when he's in a battle for the lead like this, Nicely held on the outside. Get a flick back on the inside. Gets the better line. He's going to hold. Now he's going to have DRS. It's going to be a battle of can either of them get the other out of DRS range. If they do that, race over. They won. They're both on the same tires. They're both going to probably cliff around the same time. Yeah, unless there's a fuel issue. I don't know how much fuel Dude's used up. Bortz not going to try to do a Weber-Alonso thing going into Eau Rouge. Instead, going to play it safe. Going to take him with the DRS. Flicks that thing open. Gets him on the inside. Gets him past easily. They're going to hold the inside line. And nicely done. Well done, Bortz. Clean pass. Now it's a matter of, can he get outside of the DRS range? Keep Dude from doing the exact same thing to him. Barring that, get him as far as you can away. DRS is nowhere near as effective. As we have Mutant 5 seconds behind. It'll be interesting to see how much this battle costs them and if Mutant's on primes. I don't think he would be. I think he has a similar strategy to Bortz. But we'll have to wait and see. Oh, a little bit understeer there. Car not wanting to go where Bortz is trying to point it. Better, safer handled that time. Going through the corners. So we set a faster time than the last lap, but the last lap was pretty damn quick, so I would assume that means Dude had a better time in the second sector at some point. A little bit of hesitation there for Bortz. I don't know what that was about. Excuse me. Did I mention it was late? Going to the chicane. Nicely held. A little bit of slippage there, but nothing too critical. Bortz is a bit further ahead now, half of a second, which means the DRS won't be as effective if he can just blitz away from him. Going into Eau Rouge. With it a little squirt occurs, 20 units. Going into Eau Rouge now. Flick left, flick right, nicely handled. Flicks it down to lean. Not what I would be doing when I'm in a battle for the lead, but... Oh, God. The DRS is way too effective. Bortz is just going to get the slip, though. Takes a better line. Dude defending to make sure Bortz doesn't try Banzai! Down the inside. Gets a little bit slippy there. Has to take an outside line. Nicely held, though, by both drivers. As Bortz, though, is going to get all the slip he wants. And his car seems to be better suited for turning. Even with the decreased downforce due to the dirty air. He's able to stay right with Dude. Ooh, both of them getting a little bit wide there. Let's see what this gap is. I'm going to guess it's about 4 or 5 tenths. Let's wait and see. Bortz getting a better line through that chicane. Flicking through real quickly to try to get the advantage. Flicking back up, short shifting. Hey, 5 tenths, but it was right pretty much. Dude getting a little bit outside there. But what I was saying is Bortz is flicking up early just to make sure that he doesn't get any wheel spin. He wants to be able to come out of that corner and plant throttle. Bortz not going to try anything here. Or is he going to go for the overtake on the inside here? No. Backs off early. Not going to go for anything. It's not the last lap. And if it was the last lap, I would say do it. But still got time. Race still has. Now 5 laps to go. We're on the last 5 laps. As we can see, it looks like Mutant has caught up by a second and a half. Nothing too amazing, but could still be a threat depending on how much these guys battle. Bortz using 80 units of curse this time. Trying to keep himself in the limits of the track. Works pretty well. Bortz, why did you just close DRS? Why? Whoa. Lag. Oh god, lag. Did he? Okay. That was just a bit of a smoke lag. I thought he might have blown an engine or... I don't know what I thought there. I don't know why Bortz closed the DRS there. I would have thought that he would, if he had to back out, do it manually by just braking early. You would think you'd want to close as much as you could. Do not know why he did that. Interesting. Still within the range now. I would say that that's about 8 tenths of a second. A little bit hesitant on that gear change there. Cost him probably 100th or 2. Nothing too critical at this point. I think he's still comfortably within the range. Takes that corner a little bit aggressively. Almost goes into the gravel. 9 tenths, so it's a little bit off. But as you can see, Dude is carrying much more speed through the last part of that corner, but he keeps grazing the gravel, and one of these times his car is not going to stick to the road, and he's going to go spearing off into it if he keeps this up. So he's going to have to slow down, whereas Bortz, taking a more conservative line, probably will get the advantage eventually. Takes a better line through there. Has some curves to play with. Uses it. He's going to be comfortably within DRS range. Oh, no, exactly a second. The slip should get him into the range easily. I hope. For Bortz's sake. I may sound biased, but it's Bortz's videos I'm casting. It's his perspective. It's his channel these things are uploaded to, so you do the math. Of course I'm going to root for Bortz. Dude could be a real nice dude. I have no clue. Bortz flicks that DRS open. Not going to get the overtake. Gets himself in the slip. DRS is open. You know, maybe he did that just so he wouldn't be hurting the tires as hard, and he's just going to go for a last few lap push. I'm not sure, though. It's actually lost time through there. He was a second behind. Got the DRS. He's now 2/10 and a second. I don't know. It's rather interesting. Bortz flicks it back up from fuel conservation up to standard mix. He's happy with having an extra lap of fuel aboard. I'm going to guess he's going to stay standard until the last lap or two and then push it. Oh, ooh, a bunch of understeer there. Too much speed going into the corner. His tires are starting to go. Oh, yeesh. Nicely caught indeed. Having to shift down quicker. Oh, a little bit of gravel. That's not what you want to do. Using up all the curves almost. 2 seconds out. Oh, that's not gone well. Mutant's out of the picture now. 4 seconds down unless one of these guys up here has a moment. Safe to say he's going to settle for a nice P3. And no one else around him. P4 I think is just going through the last couple of corners now. Which is the rest of his curves. So we'll get a bit of a slipstream. 1.8 seconds behind. Yeesh. Let's see. Low 142s. Yikes. Bortz is going a second slower than that. He can go into the mid 41s though. Mixes it up to rich even though he went into optimal fuel. He's going to go for it. He's going to take the risk. He's going to see what he can do. He's in the slipstream now. I think he can make it work. I don't think he'll be able to stay on fast fuel for the last 3 laps. He might have to turn it down, but he just needs to get himself in the DRS range. A little bit of gravel there from the leader. He's coming back to Bortz. No question about that. What can Bortz do? Ooh, nicely held. Oh, did he just take off his wing?
Okay, the car ahead has some serious front wing damage.
Yep. The leader is just taking his wing off. Handling problems for him. He didn't remove it completely, so he'll still probably be able to stay out, albeit much slower than he was before. I'll have to wait and see what he can do. Can Bortz close this? If I were him, I'd flick that mix down. You're going to be faster anyway. Why take the risk of running out of fuel? That incident means he's now down to 1.2 seconds. He'll get within DRS range. Now the question is, what does Dude do? Does he stay out with this wing and hope to defend against Bortz? Yep, he's going to go for it. Not coming into the pits. He still has, respectable pace considering he's just taken off a good chunk of his wing. But, I think a win for him just died with that impact. Let's see what he does here. Is he going to let Bortz by, or is he going to try to hold? He would be entitled to hold. It'd be a bit of a douche move, but you could do it. It's within the rules. He's going to try to hold. He's got the inside line. He's probably using all the curves. And he's not going to have the braking. I hope he doesn't hit Bortz. Okay, good. I was about to say. Oh, whoa, it looks like went quite deep there. Tried to spear him. Didn't work out, though. So now Bortz is in the lead. It's been a well-fought race. Down in P4 to start. An immediate safety car. And all that drama. We'll have to see how it ends up, though. Anything could still happen. We still have 2 more laps after this one. Clouds are dark. Could start pouring with rain for all we know. It is Belgium. They're not known for their predictability. Just ask Steve.
Up your pace. The car behind's catching you.
So from a 2-second deficit to a 1-second gain, Bortz is now outside, or he's got outside of the DRS range for Dude. Doctor, either he had some damage or his tires have just died because he's now 7 seconds behind. 7 seconds behind Dude, rather, so he's about 8 seconds behind. Andrew, by simple addition. I'm an engineer that can do math. Huzzah, huzzah. You'd be surprised how many can't. As Zami, 20 seconds behind. Not going to make anything happen. He's going to have to settle for P4. Go through Eau Rouge. Flick it down to standard mix. That's a smart move. You do not want to run out of fuel. I'd actually flick it down to lean at this point. No sense taking any risk. Mutant's going to be a non-factor, and with Dude's damage, he can easily pull ahead just by attacking the curbs more. Bortz is attacking the curves pretty aggressively, I must say. He's not backing off. It's one mistake from him, and Dude's still within chance of it. Still has a chance of it, rather. Within spitting distance. It's got to be careful, but not too careful. As we saw, Dude's not losing massive amounts of time. Bortz can't be too cautious. He still has to keep a respectable pace. The clouds are starting to clear again now. So, my rain nicely held. Bit of oversteer there, but nothing to write home about. Bortz using DAT curves. Going through onto the backstretch one more time. 2 more times, rather. Hopefully. But as I said, anything can happen. Let's see what does. Bortz flicks it up to mix 3 for the final lap. Braver man than I. Still on optimal fuel. Let's see what he can do. Into the first corner. Brakes at about the 60-ish meter mark. Could probably go a little bit later, but why take chances? Uses up half of his curves. Get him to Eau Rouge. Flick left, flick right, flick left again. Nicely handled. Dude actually has stayed constant, so not losing too much time. Pretty much kept a 2-second gap now. Any mistake for Bortz, and it's all over. Going in, right-hander. It's so easy to spin your car on that right-hand curb, especially in the wet. You do not want to touch that curb at all, or else you'll find yourself in the wall. But Bortz finds it nicely handled. Now a lap down on fuel projectors. Shit. That might not go well. Flicking it down to standard mix. He's not going to go for the glory lap that he thought he was going to. Corner that's so easy to understeer on. The corner goes down and away from you. I've seen many cars go off into that wall, and it is unforgiving. It will snap your wheels like a twig. Go for a right-left. If you're really ballsy, you can make an overtake into this right-hander. Not advised, though, because most people really don't appreciate that. A lot of runoff air on the right hand. Never seems to be enough, though, as you'll always find yourself in the gravel if you try to take too much. Right-hander now, where you can really make up a lot of time, depending on how brave you are. If you're too brave, you'll find yourself in the wall. Left hand sweeping corner. You can take this one full throttle most of the time. Now the final chicane. The last corners. One more right-hander. One more left-hander. And the race department pre-qualification at Spa is over. And Andrew Bortz has won the race. One hell of a race there. Nicely done to Andrew, starting for P4, safety car, drama, fighting with backmarkers being idiots. But he's still got it, baby. Nice Dude finishes in second with half of a wing, probably. Nicely done to him. And Mutant Doctor behind Bortz's quote-unquote teammate. A little bit naughty there with Bortz, but all in all, good racing. Zamker, who I'm probably saying that completely wrong, is yet to finish the race. So we'll wait. But it's pretty safe to say from the gaps that behind him is going to be Chicane. Behind him is going to be Blagenzo, the, I think, Estonian. I'm probably wrong. I probably offended 2 countries now. Zamker and Chicane actually finished close together, I think. So well done to them. Blogzo, I don't know what happened to him. Got on pole. He was in such strong contention. I don't know if he was damaged along the way or if he just tried a strategy that didn't work for him. But not a good race for him. dropping to P6. I must say, good effort by Mutant and Zumker, starting 12th and 13th respectively, getting up into P3 and 4 respectively. Still waiting for Astafas to finish. There we go. He finishes, and he's the last car to finish the race. So you can see how it goes here. 3 cars disconnected, and then a bunch of DNFs. Bunch of cars going into the wall. First amongst us was the rudderless Russian, who clipped the inside of Eau Rouge and then speared himself off. So here you can see how the points shake out. Of course, it being a one-race series, it follows results order. So congratulations to Andrew on a great finish and a great race. Had a lot of fun. Hopefully I get to cast more of these. I can't believe I just did an hour and 25 minutes, almost 26, on my own. My throat is dead. I'm tired as hell, and I'm going to bed. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Peace out.